Welcome to Vivid Vibes Podcast, where we discuss information for your soul's vibration. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jada, and today we'll be talking with a very special guest, singer, songwriter, yogini, and ray of sunshine, Christina Carlson. Welcome, Christina.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies.
Yes, absolutely.
We're very excited to have you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, of course. What a surprise.
Well, first, I would like to start out with why we brought you on. I saw your videos that you were posting these little love concerts on Instagram, and I just love that concept. And basically, the idea of how music can lift people's spirits. So, but before we even get started on all of that, Christina, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us what you do, and yeah, just tell us about you.
Cool, thank you. So I grew up in a small town in South Texas by the U.S.-Mexican border, and I was an only child, so I had a lot of time on my hands by myself. And so from an early age, I started, leaning towards music and picking up instruments, the piano, the violin. Later on, I started playing guitar. But I was always very shy. So people didn't really even know I could sing until I think I was like a sophomore in high school. I was so shy. And I think I started to sing to make like this boy like me or notice me, which was so bad. It was such a bad idea. But
Oh, no.
anyway, whatever it takes, right? So I
Mhm.
anyway, but yeah, I've always been very musical. My dad is extremely musical. He would always play the guitar to me when I was younger, and my mom and dad have always been extremely supportive of my creativity in music. And so I ended up going to music school, and that was fun, an interesting journey. But I didn't start songwriting until oh gosh, much later on in life. About like 7 years ago, actually, is when I took up the guitar in conjunction with songwriting. So it's something that came later on in life, but it's been like my greatest joy and gift, I feel. So that's a little bit about me and my kind of
Nice.
background. And
And
yeah.
your music journey. What about yoga? When did you start practicing yoga?
Oh yes, yoga. So I started practicing yoga when I was about 17, 18 years old, and it was when I kind of was going through a tough time in my life. And so I found that through my aunt, actually. She recommended it, and she said, Christina, I think this could really help you. And so I dove into it, and then I ended up getting a yoga certification, I guess, when I was about 21. And I've just kept it up ever since, and it's really helped me with, stress and, feelings of anxiousness. And it's just a beautiful thing all around. So yoga is a really big part of my life as well as music. They go well together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yoga.
I gotta say, Christina, you got a set of pipes on you. Your voice is
Oh,
beautiful.
oh, thank you so much. Thank
Yeah, I actually, Christina and I met
you.
at a writer's night in
Yeah.
Nashville.
Yes. Oh
Yeah, I went up there with my mom during Hurricane Irma.
my. Mhm.
I wasn't going to leave the state during Hurricane Irma. Like, I was pretty much set on just staying put, like a real Floridian. and and my mom said, "Well, what if we go to Nashville?" And I was like, "Okay." And I went to this writers' night with my mom, and I saw Christina singing there with this guy, Taylor. Is that his
Yes.
name?
Yes, you got it.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, her voice is so beautiful. I want to take her pictures. And I was really into photography at the time. So we did a little photo shoot.
You're so talented. Oh, she's
Thank you. So, Christina, why don't you
amazing.
tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start doing these little love concerts that you've been doing on Instagram?
Oh goodness, that's a good question. What did inspire me? Well, I'm up here in Colorado at the moment, and I was performing weekly at this beautiful little wine bar. And since this whole thing happened, of course, they've had to cancel it. And so I said, God, what can I do to still keep myself performing in front of others? And I said, gosh, I think I should do something online. And also, I forgot to mention Michael Franti or Franti, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but he was doing some beautiful he was calling it like the Michael Franti World Concerts or something like that.
I
And I
love
said,
him.
yeah, he's great. And so I said, God, I would like to kind of do something like that. What could I kind of change it to inspire others? And I said, what about a love fest? Uh, and so I said, okay, let's do it. So I said, I think this would be a great way to stay connected with everyone because, we can't go out and see each other. So I just decided to kind of do, weekly, um, performances, either like originals or original songs of mine. So that's what kind of inspired it, this whole thing that's going on and trying to spread love into people's days. And it looks like it's working a little bit so far, which is really wonderful. I wasn't
Yes.
Yeah. And Christina, I'd like to ask you now, I'm sure a lot of people are feeling, I'm hoping that a lot of people are feeling inspired while they have this kind of downtime, if they have downtime right
right.
now during all this quarantine. How has this, the state of things, how have they affected your creativity, or what sources of inspiration are you finding during the times we're in right now?
Well, to be honest, when this first, I guess, hit us, I was kind of in a down mood, and I had absolutely no inspiration. I couldn't write a song, and I was thinking, gosh, this is really bad. Uh, how can this, evolve into something positive? And so I think I've just given myself some time to sit with it, to feel all the feelings with what's going on in the world. And now I think since I've kind of sat with these feelings of sadness or whatever you would like to call it. I think now I've seen the light throughout all of this, and I see everyone coming together and making a difference and helping one another, and it's really inspired me. And so I think seeing how everyone else is responding to this in a positive way, it's really inspiring me. And I think sometimes we have to go through our low emotions to kind of get through these times, and therefore these positive things come up. We have to feel all of it to um, I guess create our best work. And
Mhm.
so
Yes.
yeah,
Totally.
sorry, that was a long answer to
No, it's
No, that was
okay.
beautiful. No, it's great to talk about that. Yeah.
so yeah, it took me a while, but now I'm in a much better place, and I think these Love Fest concerts have really uplifted me as much as everyone else, which is beautiful.
It's amazing what it can do for your soul to just be of service in a time like
Mm,
this,
ex-
to look at what you're experiencing and then take a moment and say, wait a minute, everybody's experiencing this right now. How can I be of service? What can I do? And one of my favorite mantras I actually learned from Marie Forleo, and that is, I am the faucet and God is the water. And if the word God doesn't resonate with you, you can say source or the universe or
mm,
whatever. But yeah, just being that channel for
mm.
messages of love and light and peace and yeah, all that
That was
good
Yeah.
beautiful.
healing stuff. Thanks.
Yeah,
I,
and I think it was beautiful that you said that you allowed yourself to just kind of sit in those feelings. I think that is
yeah,
very important, especially I think a lot of people right now, again, they're in an unusual state right now. It's not
mhm,
their normal routine. Now you're stuck at home and you are kind of forced to reflect inward. Now you can't escape what you're feeling. So it's very important to just face them and feel them and see what they have to tell you when you are feeling them that way.
Exactly. I love that. I was thinking about that the other day. I said, yeah, most people were all distracted and doing our day to day things. And now we're just forced to sit with our feelings and, woo, we've got to work on them now. So I think a lot of growth can come out of this if we're willing to, look inside and transform. So I think this could be really transformative for all of us.
Agreed.
Absolutely. So, with feeling all of your emotions and going through all of that, after you kind of sat with everything and then moved into a place of service, do you feel now that you're more inspired? Do you feel now that you're able to kind of channel some of those emotions into songwriting, or is it still kind of a downtime for you?
Oh, I think that it's definitely opened a channel to more inspiration and light, like you said. Um, not to say that in the past when I've been in dark times, I haven't been able to create those songs I've written in those times have been, some of my favorites as well. But I think for this time, this is what we kind of need. We need the light and the, like you said, being of service and some positivity and encouragement, because everywhere we look, like the news and whatnot, there's just, a lot of negative, fear-based stuff going on. So I think definitely this is opened up a new lane for me, and I'm excited to see what else I can create and share for everyone. And yeah, definitely this is, I feel like my chakras are open.
Yes. We love
Very
a good
good.
open chakra.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But I think one thing I wanted to chime in whenever you're talking about like the news and all these negative messages that we're often receiving is a lot of people don't realize the way that they're programming their subconscious thoughts.
Oh yeah.
And when we're constantly listening to the news or having even looking through Facebook, if you follow a lot of people on Facebook who post the things that they're stressed about or are constantly complaining, or if you're surrounded by people who are constantly complaining, that's going to be your subconscious train of thought.
Right.
But if you're listening to uplifting messages in your music, especially, like if you're listening to music that's uplifting with positive messages or just stuff that nourishes your soul, then
Mm,
those are going to be your subconscious thoughts.
I couldn't agree with you more.
You
What
know
we
what?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Christina.
Oh no, I was just gonna say whatever we ingest, it's like, it's food to us. It's visual food, it's mind food. So anyway, you got to be careful with that. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yes, you are
yeah.
what you eat.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
Yeah. No, I just thought of something with
Mhm.
so with my hypnosis training, we had this infograph in my when I was taking the course, and they separated the way you look at your mind, with your mind and your subconscious mind. The emotions are directly tied in with the subconscious. And to think, and now music is this beautiful creative outlet that is a projection of emotions and energy. It's all one and the same in my view. And that has a direct link with getting into your subconscious mind as well. That creative flow, that emotional energy is going straight there. And
Mm,
so I love that right now, Christina, like people like you, these creative influencers, um, are projecting more of that outwardly rather than only having like news sources to refer to, because yes, as Jada, like you're saying, that can take a toll on you.
yeah.
So it's a wonderful, I'm connecting dots right now as we talk about this, and it's really cool.
It really does train your emotions, the music that you listen to. Like, I truly believe that everybody as a child is an empath. I think that we have this common misconception that only like 5% of the world are empaths, and that it's this like special separate group, but it is a gift, don't get me wrong, but I think it's not so much that those percentage of people are gifted, but rather those people just haven't covered it up as they've grown into their adulthood.
Yeah, I
But
agree with that, Jada.
yeah, but I digress. Like, I think, I identify as an empath. I definitely am like, very absorbent of other people's
Yeah.
emotions. And when I listen to, okay, like for example, I love John Mayer. I fucking love
Oh,
John Mayer. But when I listen to John Mayer too much, I become a sad girl.
I totally can relate to that. I until you said it, I was like, "Oh my god, I felt that way as well because I'm a big fan of his and I feel like I'm an empath as well, so that's something I definitely resonate with what you said."
Yeah, it's amazing how, like what you're saying, Laura, like programming your subconscious thoughts really ties in with your emotions. But like John Mayer, for example, is such a talented musician. The way that he makes his guitar go with like the melodies that he's
Mm,
singing is just like, oh, it gives
yeah.
me chills talking about it. I just love him so much. But then he's also singing about these like things like heartbreak
Mm,
and like how you're no one till someone lets you down and like all
yeah.
these sad things, and then you're like, wait, why do I feel like a sad lonely hippie? Oh, wait a minute.
You know what though? I find that you're right. If you're listening to too much of something, then it doesn't hit the right note at the right time for you. I think that's what it's what music can hit a chord, an energetic or emotional chord that resonates within you. Hence why you it can enjoy it.
Right.
You enjoy what you like, but that varies upon a person's individual mood. They might not you get if you're I'm a fan if I am sad. I do like listening to sad music because it vibes on the same frequency as me. So it feels like, "Oh yeah, somebody gets me," right? And that can also happen though if you're feeling in an uplifted mood. You find what music hits that chord at the right time for you.
Yeah, I think like I don't know, like I also think if you are in a bummed out mood and you're listening to sad music too much, you can kind of perpetuate the mood that you're in.
I agree.
Mm.
Too much of it, definitely not too great. I do remember this one time in middle school. I had a boyfriend who like all of a sudden like it wasn't anything severe, but I got a message or something from his mom saying that he was in the hospital. It really wasn't anything severe. I don't even remember what it was. But my immediate thing was going in a car ride with my mom. She let me put on a CD I had of Death Cab for Cutie, and one of the songs was talking about waiting in a hospital in a waiting room, and love is watching someone die. And my mom looks at me and she's like, I don't know if this is very good for you to be listening to this right now. And I'm like, no, mom, they know what I'm feeling. And I just always think back on that and like, yeah, I felt good after. I just had to feel it in the moment and let it go. And then you're right. Then you go too much of that and then it's not going to be good. So I got over it and then I found some happier music.
Yeah. Christina, who are some of your favorite artists?
Oh gosh. Ooh. Ooh. Let's let's see. I love that I don't know if she's like a new artist, but her name is Her. Um I don't know her real name, but it's H.E.R.
Is she a
She's
rapper?
very, God, I'm not sure if she does some rapping. She's like R&B,
Okay.
soul. She's very talented. I love, of course, like the oldies, like Steely Dan and Marvin Gaye and Earth, Wind and Fire. Of course, John Mayer. I'm a big fan as well. Um,
Yes.
who else do I love? I used to love Whitney Houston when I was younger, Alicia Keys, Jill Scott, Erica Badu. I like a wide variety of musicians, but those are just some that I you know, that I love. I could go on.
Talk about uplifting songs. Oh my god. I feel like I've talked about this song before on this podcast already, but that song Girl on Fire by Alicia Keys.
Oh yeah,
This girl is on fire.
I love
That
listening
song
to
is my
that.
shit.
Oh, that is so good. I'll have to play it after this. Just wow.
Just
Yes, that's
feel
just
it.
like such a girl power song. Like you listen to it and you're like, "Ooh, yes, I got this." Like
I
Mhm.
got this. Exactly. I know music is so powerful in that way. It can totally just give us the confidence that, I don't know, it's pretty powerful.
It
yeah.
is.
So, even more specifically, like not
Mm.
even just your favorite artist, but what are some songs that you listen to if you want to feel uplifted?
Ooh, that's a good question. Actually, Bombay Bicycle Club. I'm looking through they have some uplifting music. Um
I've
like
never heard of them.
yeah, oh
I've
no, they're
heard of them.
yeah, they're
You have?
pretty cool. Phoenix, Too Young. That's a cool song. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Shallow Hal. Did you ever see that
Mhm.
with Gwyneth
Yeah.
Paltrow? Anyway, they had that in the soundtrack. Big Wild has really inspiring, uplifting music. They're kind of a electronic. I don't know how to really explain their music, but Big Wild is great. Passenger, I love the Rolling Stones. I don't know. Those are just some of the, stuff I have on my phone right now. Um, what about you all?
Oh man. I have 2 playlists.
Yeah.
I have 2 playlists of okay, so I like to listen to a lot of tropical house cuz that just like
Oh,
puts me in a good mood, like tropical house is just like caffeine for the soul,
yeah.
house music in general. And then I have this playlist called Manifest
Mm.
that has all these songs that just like help me manifest a good mood.
Oh, I like.
And yeah, so I've got like some Lizzo on there.
Oh,
This artist called Fia, Fia. Have you ever heard of her?
I have not. I'll have to look her up.
Yeah, I feel like you might like her. She's a Swedish artist who talks a lot about like starseed indigo
Oh, yeah.
I think
things.
you were playing her during one of our get-togethers at your place.
Probably.
I think, yeah. You always, I
Yeah.
love the music you play whenever I come over and we
Thanks.
hang out.
Laura, who are your favorite artists to listen to when you want to feel uplifted?
It's always my go-to band. They've been my favorite band since I first discovered them back in 2007. Nobody ever really knows about them, at least anybody I talk to, but they're called Mew, MEW. They're from Denmark,
Oh.
but their music, it's kind of indie alternative kind of music, but they always like they have the lower and the higher, the upbeat, and like it's such an array that like I can find a song that hits my mood in so many variations like all the time, and it's just wonderful to me. And yesterday Jada had given me a challenge to dance for the whole duration of a particular song of my choice, and I did this activity with my son, and we chose 2 Mew songs to dance to, and it was
Nice.
fantastic, and it was just so like,
Oh,
that was a very uplifting thing.
yes. How old is your son?
He's 5 right now. He'll be 6 in October.
Oh, wow.
Yep. He's hanging in there through all of this.
Gosh, well, hopefully he'll come up with some fun things to do and new hobbies.
Oh, yeah, he's creative. But
Nice.
you know what's so funny on this topic of all this music? I'm thrilled looking at this little boy. And now that he's getting to an age he can communicate far better than he was when he was younger, of course, but like he can tell me what songs he likes now, what he's
Mm,
into. And it's so cool to be able to read what like energies he's vibing off of. because of
Aw.
his music choices, and it's like, "You little person, I love you."
That's so sweet. So, what we were talking about yesterday, I feel like that would be a good subject to talk about too, since Christina is a yogi. So, yesterday we were talking about how movement is medicine and how moving your body can really help you release things that you're holding on to emotionally and really break up that stagnant energy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how, like, as far as the movement aspect of yoga, how do you feel like that is helping you release things that you're holding on to?
Oh goodness. Well, I totally agree with you on that. I mean, there's so much I feel like scientific evidence behind that too, as well as like I don't know if you just look online, it's like the power of movement and how, like you said, energies get stuck. Emotions are, they can get stuck in the body. And if we're not expressing them through our voice, our truth, or with movements, like they can cause dis-ease, which in turn is disease. So I feel very strongly about that subject. I myself love to do yoga, I don't know, at least 5 times a week. Um, back when I was in Austin, I was doing yoga with one of my favorite yoga instructors. Her name is Mari Carmen Wilson, and she is one of the most influential yoga teachers I've ever had, and her flows are so unique. It's almost like a dance and almost like also mixed with kundalini, and it's very powerful. And so to me, if I don't move every day at least a little bit, oh man, I can feel it in my mood, I can feel it in my energy. Things are just stagnant and just woo. So as soon as I start to move, it's like my body gets so re-energized, and I feel like my creativity, like you said, like it's opening up our chakras, and I think a lot of things flow from that when we're moving our bodies, getting all that circulation, and so I think it's very powerful, and I've definitely been trying to move every day, either going walks on the mountain or doing yoga here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good stuff here.
Yes. Laura, how did you feel yesterday after you danced for 2
Oh
songs?
my gosh, I felt so much better. I felt so much better. And I thank you for that because we were discussing I've been going through a mood like the last few days, and you're stuck at home. I think a lot of people are feeling that right now. You can feel these really low emotions, and I was
Yeah.
venting to Jada about this, that, and the other. And then we hit on a lot of stuff that I was not fully conscious of in terms of like, oh, well, yeah, okay, so that might be some resistance I'm holding to this, that, and the other.
Mm.
And all right, well, movement will help with this. So we
Wow.
did this EFT tapping exercise to release my resistance. I felt so much better from that. And then, yeah, when I went inside the house, found some of my favorite songs or from you and started dancing with my son, and it was great. And now I'm looking at it in a different way where it's like, yeah, dance is like it's not a thing that seems like work. It's not like, "Oh, I have to exercise, so, ugh, I have to do this laborious thing." It's not like that at all. It's just this fun it's play.
Yes.
And even if I'm doing just that now, I think, like, that's gonna make all this, like, movement when I'm feeling down, like, that's so easy to get into, I feel. Like, yes, do this, dance more, connect more, move more, and since then, I'm feeling so much better.
Ah, I love that. That inspired me. One of my actually, the yoga teacher, Mari Kadman, she sent me a little thing that said, God, what did it say? It said something about in shamanic um, ways, if someone comes to them and says, I'm sick, or I have this going on with me, they said, well, when did you stop singing and dancing? So those
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
that's such medicine for us. So yes, I'm so glad you did that.
I've actually been able to find my voice and learn how to really speak my truth through yoga. So it
Oh,
kind of goes vice versa.
yeah.
Whenever I first started teaching yoga, I was scared to say the things that were a little bit more spiritual, and because I didn't know how people would perceive that. You know, a
Mm,
lot of my clientele at the yoga studios I work at are middle-aged to retirement age people,
mhm.
and I just didn't know how those spiritual things would be perceived.
Yeah.
Saying things like open up your heart space and imagine light shining out, you know, like things like that. I
Mm,
didn't know how that would be perceived. But then I took this class in Orlando. It was this aerial yoga class, and she had a huge following. And I was so surprised when halfway through the class I realized, oh my God, like she is just saying everything that's coming to her. She's opening herself up as this channel. She is saying,
mm.
I am the faucet and God is the water. I am the faucet and the universe is the water. She was just letting the words flow out. She was saying things like, breathe in love, exhale what is not,
Yeah.
and just things that were so beautiful and really helped me align with my soul. And at the end of the class, I realized she has this following because she is showing up as her authentic self.
Yeah.
And so after that, I started showing up as my authentic self in my classes, and I started getting more feedback. I
Oh,
started
Right.
yeah, I started getting more people saying, "Jada, your class was so wonderful. Jada, I felt so good after your class," because I wasn't putting that ego block over my soul. I was just letting my soul's energy flow.
oh,
Yeah. I kind of had a similar thing happen to me just after I went through my hypnosis training. Because the whole point of me wanting to get into hypnosis was that it was this great thing that showed me this spiritual aspect of life that I previously had kind of been unknown to. I discovered past life regression through
mm,
hypnosis, and that opened my eyes so greatly. And so that was my wanting to go into getting certified as a hypnotist so that I could share that. But when I did my training course, it was for quote unquote practical use. You know, they didn't talk a whole lot about the past life regression. That was a part of the class, but a very they wanted you to be very practical with this so that it's hitting a mainstream audience, right? And then so when I came home after my training, the first session I had, I had a friend come over, and I was trying to apply the training that I had with what I just learned, not trying to make it a spiritual thing. Just like, let's just see what we get into. And I hit a total block, and it really didn't this that first session, it really didn't go anywhere. She opened her eyes before I could even guide her anywhere. I'm like, okay, I guess that didn't work. And then it really showed me, I'm like, I can't try to follow by the book. I can't do what might be considered mainstream because that's not the reason why I chose to do this. And like you're saying, I put this block over that. And so by the time I had the next another friend come over so I could try it out on them, I said, "Well, screw it. I'm just going to do it the way I want to do it and let's see where we go." And it was phenomenal. It was such a drastic difference, and I'm like, "All right, I'm getting the hang of this, I guess." You got to be open to letting that authenticity shine and know the reason why you're doing what you're doing on an authentic level.
exactly. Oh, I love that. When you said behind the why, I wrote a song called "What Is Your Why," and it's all about that. You know, why are you doing what you're doing? What's the meaning behind your actions? And that's so important to know that question. What is your why? Why are you here on Earth? You know. Um. Anyway, I love what you said.
Yeah,
I love that.
I
Yeah,
love that
Oh,
too.
I
That's
love
great.
that.
yeah. I'll play that one next on the Love Fest. What is your why? I love
Yes. Oh my God,
Awesome.
yes. Have you ever heard of the exercise called 7 levels deep, Christina?
I have not. What is that?
So basically, it's to find out what your why is.
Oh.
And so Laura and I did it with each other as to why we wanted to start this podcast. So basically, you start with a question like, why do you want to write music? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll answer that question, and then the person will take your answer and ask you why, basically.
Hmm.
So, like, let's say you asked me, why do I want to teach yoga? And I said, to help people heal their minds, bodies, and souls. Then you would say, why do you want to help people heal their minds, bodies, and souls? And then you would just do that 7 times.
Oh, wow.
And it really, yeah, it gets you out of your head and into your heart space as to why you want to do something.
Oh,
But I totally agree that, like, your reason why, that is your motivation. That's like the driving force that keeps you going. That's what makes you wake up and continue to do something
yeah,
even on the days where you don't feel like it. You just go back to that reason why, and it's like, okay, this is why I'm doing this.
That's right.
exactly. And I feel people can see through, if you're not doing it for an authentic reason. I feel like you said, like the yoga teacher, she was showing her authentic self, and that's why, so many people were coming to her class. And then when you started to do the same, that's when you got more feedback. So I feel like people can really see that when we're, doing it coming from an authentic, genuine place of service. So I like
Yes.
that. I'm gonna try that. The
100%.
seven. Did you say 7 layers?
7 7 levels deep. We
7
actually
levels.
have a worksheet for it in our Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's called
Yeah.
the Vivid Vibes Tribe,
Okay.
and there's a worksheet in there with a link for a PDF so you can print it out.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an awesome exercise. So that being said, Christina, like, what is your why? Like, why do you write music?
Oh, that's a great question, Jada. Oh gosh, how can I say it? Well, at first I was using it before I started performing out in front of people. It took me a long time. I was very nervous. But before I started sharing it with the world, I was doing it more of a I guess emotional release of lots of feelings that I had pent up inside. I'd always been someone that had a hard time speaking my truth, and I was always a people pleaser, and I was just this was a way for me to vent. And so when I started playing these songs in front of my close friends, and their reaction was, oh my god, like this is really good, actually, you should bring it out into the world. And I think my why behind it now is not only is it healing for me, but the effect that I've seen on an audience, and the change in the room when I start playing the music. You can just feel the energetic shift. That is so powerful to me. It is, you're like an alchemist, you're just changing it, and you're bringing everyone into that state of love and higher vibration. And so I think that's my why, is that not only is it healing for me, but it heals others. And I think we need more of that in the world. So that's behind my why.
Yes, that's beautiful.
That is. That's very beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, girls.
So, last question, Christina.
Mhm.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Okay, so I'm this year I'm working to bring myself more, into the internet. But for now, you can find me mainly on Instagram if you just type in Christina Carlson Music, and my page will pop up, and that's where I'm posting mainly. I used to have a website, but I'm gonna make a new one now. So things will be, coming soon, but that's where everyone can find me for now. Christina Carlson Music on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook, but not that much. more
Okay.
more on Instagram. I was just gonna tell you as one interesting fact that I read about, when we're oming in yoga or just, singing, that stimulates our, parasympathetic nervous system, and it's the rest and digest mode versus our sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight. So when we're singing to our favorite songs or just humming along, that's a great way to calm down and reduce anxiety, and it stimulates our vagus nerve, which does so many incredible things for us. So even just singing along to our favorite songs can make such a big difference in our overall health. So I encourage everyone to do that every day and dance.
Yes. Sing
Yes.
and dance. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that little fun fact.
Mhm.
Wow, it's pretty incredible the effects that music and movement have on the body. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. We're amazing creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we so often honor this like working aspect of ourselves,
Mhm.
and then we ignore this playful aspect of ourselves. And when we ignore that playful singing, dancing aspect of ourselves, we get this stagnant energy, and that ultimately holds us back with the working side of ourselves too. So it
Right?
is important to honor that inner child that wants to sing and dance and play.
Yeah, I hope we all get more of that during these times of isolation. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Christina, thank you so much for making time to chat with us today.
Always. Thank you so much. This is my first podcast ever, so what a great first time.
Yay.
Yay. Well, we're honored. Thank you again for being here, Christina.
Oh, thank you, ladies. I'm sending a virtual hug and kiss your way. And
Yes.
Yay.
Hugs and kisses to you. And everybody, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Vivid Vibes Podcast. If you liked this episode, please head over to Apple Podcast or the iTunes Store and write us a review. If you did that, we would love that so much. Also, feel free to join us at the Vivid Vibes Tribe on Facebook, where we'll post all kinds of exclusive content for you guys. Thank you so much and have a great day. Namaste.
Namaste.
namaste.